in the diagram, there is A, so there's point A here. Point A has 6 and -2, and there's point B. Point B has 2 and 15. And there's point C, or C. Point C as well has -4 and 3. And all of these 3 points are vertices of ABC. So these 3 points are vertices. Vertices are just these lines. Vertices are just lines of a polygon. And this is a polygon. And we know this polygon. This polygon is a triangle. ABC. And M is the midpoint. So M is the midpoint of AB. So M is the midpoint of AB, and this sign here just means that this line is equal to that line. That's what this means. And N is a point on C. So N is a point on CA, on this line here, such that MN is parallel to BC. So this line here means parallel. Okay, so if lines are parallel, that means so this sign here and that sign, those two signs, that just means these two lines are parallel. The way they rotate, I think there was probably a typo in what they wrote, but it's supposed to be like this on the line. There's two, this sign means there's two lines are parallel. All right. And yeah, so if two lines are parallel, there is a whole lot of knowledge which you need to know, but we'll learn about that as we answer these questions. Now 3.1, determine the coordinates of M, the midpoint of AB. So they want us to find the coordinate of M, and M is the midpoint of AB. So how do we do that? 3.1, so the coordinate of M, and M is the midpoint of AB. So the formula that we used to use to find the midpoint is, so M is the midpoint, and say M is equal to, so M is the midpoint of AB. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the x value of A plus the x value of B and divide it by 2. And you're going to take the y value of B plus the, y value of B or y value of A, doesn't matter. Which one you pick, the order doesn't matter. Divide by 2, right? And then we can just substitute those values. So what is the x value of A? The x value of A is 2. So that's the x value of A. That's 2 plus the x value of B. Let's go up. The x value of B is 2 is 2. Oh, sorry. I said the x value of A is 2. No, it's not 2. I'm sure you guys saw that as well. If you did, well done. So the x value of A is 6. Okay, that's the x value of A plus the x value of B. The x value of B is 2. So plus 2 divided by 2. And what is the x value? So now we're looking at the y value of B and the y value of A. The y value of B is -2. So minus 2. The y value of B, let's go up. The y value of B is positive 15. So 15 divided by 2. And then you just take in your calculator and punch these numbers. So 6 plus 2 is 12. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2, that's 4. And a -2 plus 15 is 13. 13 divided by 2, that's 13. That's 13 divided by 2. We can not simplify that further. And 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. Okay, so you have 4 and 13 over 2. All right, and then that's your midpoint. So you get your 2 marks. So your 2 marks will essentially will come from obviously for the correct answer, and also just correct substitution. Right. right? 3.2, determine the gradient of line MN. Okay, now where's line MN? This is the line MN. Ooh, all right, that's going to the knowledge about parallel, the one that I talked about earlier on. So the line MN, we've learned that this line is parallel to this line BC, right? So note about parallel. So note. So if two lines are parallel, for example, line BC is parallel to line MN, therefore their gradients are equal, right? They have the same gradient. So if two lines are parallel, so line 1 is parallel to line 2, then the gradient of a line 1 is equal to the gradient of line 2. What does this mean? It means that if we can find the gradient of MN, if we can find the gradient of BC, then we can find the gradient of MN, because the gradient of BC is equal to the gradient of MN. Why do we need the gradient? Why do we need the gradient? Is because they're looking for, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the gradient of MN. Okay, so we can now say since line BC is parallel to line MN, it's parallel to line MN, then gradient of BC should be equal to the gradient of MN. Okay, and how do you calculate the gradient? To calculate the gradient, you say, because now we're looking at the gradient of BC, we just, when you calculate the gradient, you just need only 2 points. You can now find the gradient from the 2 points. So the gradient of BC, so how do you calculate the gradient of BC? You say you can just take the y value of B minus the y value of C divided by the x value of B minus the x value of C. Now what is the y value of B? I mean, someone else can take the y value of C minus the y value of B divided by the x value of C minus the x value of B. I'm gonna get the same answer, right? So what is the y value of B? The y value of B is 15. It's good. So you just write that down. 15. What is the y value of C? The y value of C is 3. Write that down. So 3. And what is the x value of B? The x value of B is 2. Write that down. What is the x value of C? The x value of C is negative 4. Okay, can you write that down as well? Negative 4. See what I did there? It's minus negative 4. Right, don't forget the negative. It's negative 4. Okay, and then you can now quickly do this yourself. For example, the gradient of n is equal to, so 15 minus 3, that is 15 minus 3, that is 12, and 6 minus negative 4, that is 6 plus 4. Sorry, my mind is already just quickly went to the answer. 2 minus negative 4, okay? 2 minus negative 4, that is 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. Now 12 divided by 6 is 2. So that's your answer. So that's the answer here. So 3 marks. So you get the marks just by writing the statement that since BC is parallel to MN, then gradient of BC is equal to gradient of MN, and you get a mark for, of course, for an answer, and get a mark for substitution. All right, okay, cool. Now 3.3, hence. So the word hence just means that use the information from your previous answer, or from hence. Okay, in English, hence just means that from the previous results, now this is my conclusion, right? That's how hence is being used. So now they're saying here in maths, hence meaning use your previous information to answer this question. Or otherwise, if you feel like you don't have to, then you can just, they say, or otherwise, determine the equation of a line MN. Determine the equation of a line MN. Now, MN, where's MN? So they want us to find the equation of a line MN. Okay, that's good. In this form, all right. So how do you find the equation of a line? So it's a couple of things to note when you find the equation of a line. The point 3. When you find an equation of any line, let me just write it somewhere here. So we need to, when you find the equation of a line, then you want us to write it in this form. Okay, so we know this form. This is the gradient. Okay, and that gradient is the gradient that you've just learned about it here, because we're looking at the line MN. So this is the gradient of MN, and they've just calculated it as 2. So the gradient of MN is 2, and so we need to have a gradient. So we already have a gradient, and we need to have 1 point to able to calculate a equation of a line. So if we have, what I'm saying is, if you have a line, and let's call the line L, and the gradient of this line, and you also have a point, it's called this point A, and you have a point A, you can then, with these two information, find the equation of this line now, line L. So as you can see, we have the line MN, and we know the gradient of this line. We know the gradient of this line, right? And we know this point M, we just calculated it. So we know point M, and we know the gradient of MN. Then now we can find the equation of this line, all right? So let's do that. To actually determine the equation of a line, straight line, this is the formula that you need to use. So y minus a point. So in this case, we have this point M. So the y value of M, so it's capital letter, the y value of M, and then the gradient of, so the gradient is of Mn, which we have calculated previously, x minus the x value of M. Okay, then y minus the y value of M. So you already know the y value of M is 13/2. We've calculated before, 13/2, and the x value of M is 4. So you're gonna have 13/2 is equal to the gradient of Mn. The gradient of Mn is 2. That's what you got. So it's 2x minus the x value of M is 4. Minus 4. So if y minus 1/3/2, now I can just simplify this. So 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times -4, that is -8. And now we can, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that -13, put it on the right hand side, becomes positive 13/2. So 2x minus 8 plus 13/2, 2x, so -8. So -8 plus 13/2 should get -3/2. That's 1.5. all right. Okay, so that is the equation of, or rather the line, or the equation of a line Mn in this form, right? So you got the gradient Mn, and so this is y is equal to mx plus c. So our c is -3/2. Right. How do you get marks here? It's 2 marks. Yeah, I know we've done a lot, but actually you get a mark for a correct answer, and you get a mark for this substitution here. That 2 marks, that's where the 2 marks coming from. Now 3.4. 3.4, calculate with reasons the coordinates of point N. So the coordinates of point N, where's N? Okay, there's N. There is N. Now what I want you to see is N is an intercept, or is a point that it's a point where these two lines intersect. It's a point where these two lines meet. They meet at point N. So what does that mean? If two lines meet at a certain point, it means that these two lines at this point, they are equal. Okay? At the point of intersection, two lines are equal. Even with this one here, at that point of intersection, this line here and that line, they are equal. Okay? So we already know the equation of this line, right? So if we can find the equation of this line and equate these two equations at this point, and then solve for x and y, the x and y that you're going to get after equating these two lines is the x values of n and the y values of n. Okay, so that's basically how you could calculate n. So you already know this line is this, y is equal to 2x minus 3 over 2. Now let's find this line here. Okay, now easy. We said to find a line, or to find a straight line, we need to know 1 point. Like here we know 2 points, and you need to have a gradient. We don't know the gradient, but we can find a gradient from these 2 points. And then after that, to use this equation to get the equation of that line. So what I'm saying is, what we need to do is to then find the equation of line AC. All right, first thing, we need to find the gradient of AC. The gradient of AC, say the formula we're going to use, yc minus ya. So the y value of c minus the y value of a over the x value of c minus the x value of a. Okay, and what is the y value of c? The y value of c is 3. And what is the y value of a? The y value of a is -2, so it's minus -2, right? And remember, you can say y of a minus y of c over x of a minus x of c. Up to you which one you want to start with. So what I wanted you to do is, while I'm doing that one, I want you to do this one here. Okay, I'll be busy with this, you do that one, and see if you're getting the same answer. We should get the same answer. Right, so 3 minus -2, that's what we have. Now what is the x value of c? The x value of c is -4. What is the x value of a? The x value of a is 6. Now you can just quickly punch this in your calculator, or you can just do it in your head. 3 minus -2, that is 3 plus 2, and the 3 plus 2 is 5. And then -4 minus 6, that is -10. Now 5 divided by -10, we can write it as -1 over 2. So the gradient of AC is -1 over 2. It's half. All right, that's cool. That's cool. And you know what is the gradient? Probably we need to know this. A gradient, it's a indication of how steep the line is, or how steep, yeah, they say the line, how steep the line is. For example, and if also the gradient is negative or positive, that means something, right? For example, now the gradient, so the gradient of mn, we got it to be what? +2. That means the line is facing that direction, and how steep it is +2 steep. Obviously, most of the time you end up calculating the angle of that line, and then you can say, okay, cool, maybe it's 35 degrees steep, or 25 degrees steep, but uh, the m here, the gradient of mn, it just tells you how steep the line is. Okay, and if it's positive, it tells, okay, cool, going that direction. Now if it's negative, it tells you that it should go that direction. So if it's positive, goes up. If it's negative, goes down. Right? Now you already can see that the gradient of AC, is negative. So that's why it is going down like that. Therefore, the gradient of BC is positive. So that's why it should go up like that. That's why the line BC is going up like that, right? The gradient of AB, you can calculate it yourself and you're gonna get it is negative. How do I know it's negative? Because it goes, the line AB goes down like that. Okay, you can also calculate it yourself and see if you're getting a positive or negative number, but you should get a negative number. Why? Because the gradient of the line BC is going down, and the gradient tells you how steep the line is, and it indicates in which direction is that line going. Is it going up or it's going down? Obviously, in Cartesian plane, right? So yeah, so that's why when you get negative half, don't panic. You know, okay, we're expecting it to be negative. We're expecting this to be negative because our line is going down. If you got a positive number there, panic. Just know you're doing something wrong. So that's how you check yourself in your exam. Like, oh shit, sorry. Oh no. Oh no. I'm getting a negative. I'm getting a negative number here. So can you then just change and check if you know what I mean? If we should probably do something about that. Okay. So that's how you do your gradient of AC. So that's what you got. Gradient of AC is negative 1 over 2, and we're expecting it to be negative. Now, from here, we know, right, from previous notes, we know the gradient, and we know the point. You can pick any of this on these 2 points, right? What I'm going to do is, I'm going to pick this point. I want you to use this point and see if we're getting the same answer, okay? So let's go. So remember, this is the formula that we're going to use, right? So in this case, you have y minus, I'm taking C, I want you to take A. So I'm going to take the y value of A is equal to the gradient of AC, x minus the x value of A. Oh, I said I'm taking C, not A. Right. So you take A, I take C, okay? Y minus, what is the y value of C? The y value of C is 3. The gradient of AC is negative half x. The x value of C is 4. So I'll say minus negative 4. You see, don't forget that. A lot of students, they forget the sign when there's a minus before it. Then from here, we have y minus 3. Then I can just remove the bracket. Of course, in the brackets, before I remove it, negative and negative is positive, right? So, and I can just remove the brackets now. So we'll say negative half times x, that's negative half x, and negative half times 4, there is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2, right? And then I can now take that negative 3, put in your right hand side, this becomes positive 3. So if y is equal to negative half x minus 2 plus 3, and then negative half x, of course, negative 2 plus 3, that is positive 1. So the line, the equation of a line AC is this one here. We are not done. Remember what we're doing here. Calculate with reasons the coordinate of point N. Okay. So point N, we need to find point N. That's where we're going. And I said the methodology, one method you can use is looking at this line MN and look at this line AC. Since these two lines are equal at this point, therefore if we equate them, we're able to find the line, the coordinates of line n, because at that point n, these two lines are equal. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so what are we saying really? We're saying at that point, the blue line, which is 2x minus 3 over 2, is equal to the purple line, which is negative 1 over 2x plus 1. That is equal to, at this point, those two lines are equal. Okay, so then you solve for x. So the x value that you're going to get there, it is the x value of n. Okay, so what you're going to do is just group the like terms. So what you're going to do is now is take that negative half, put it in your left hand side, becomes positive half. So you have 2x plus half x, and then you can take that negative 3 over 2, put it in your right hand side, becomes positive 3 over 2. So you have 3 over 2 plus 1. Now what is 2x plus half? 2x plus half is 2.5. If you want to, it's 2.5x, or you can say that is 5 over 2x. You can punch that in your calculator if you want to as well to get your answer. And 3 over 2 plus 1, you can also just punch that in your calculator to get your answer. Alright, you can just do it yourself. 2 over 2 plus 1, it is 3 plus 2 over 2, which is 3 over 2 plus 1, yeah. 3 over 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 2 over 2, which is 5 over 2. Okay, then you can divide by 5 over 2 on both sides. Obviously, your x is equal to 1 if you divide by 5 over 2 on both sides, just to solve for x, and then your answer will be 1. 5 over 2 divided by 5 over 2 is 1. So what we're saying is now the x, so now for n, because what you're doing here, right, let me write a different color for a good color. So the x value of n is 1. Did we expect it to be 1? I think we do, because when you look at this, just in general, right, this is 6, right, and this is 0. Okay, and what about this point here? This point here is 4. Remember, m, the x value of m is 4. Okay, and what about this point here? This point here is 2, because it's directly coming down there, right? That's 2. So the point is between 0 and 1. I'm expecting it to be 1, or maybe something else, but I expecting to be between 0 and 1, and it is. The x value of 1 we get to be 1, so we sort of kind of correct. And we're expecting the y value of n to be positive, not negative. Why is that? Because the y value of n, it is positive. It is up here. It is not negative. That's one thing. And even also the x value of expected to be positive, not negative. Okay, so we're expecting the y value of n to be positive. So what we're gonna do is now to get the y value of n, we can now substitute that one either in this equation or in that equation. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna substitute it in this purple equation. I want you to substitute it in this blue equation. All right, we should get the same answer. Okay, so I'm using blue. So where there's x, we just put 1. I'm using purple, using blue, right? So negative 1 over 2, x is 1 plus 1. So you have negative 1 over 2 times 1 is negative 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2 plus 1 is positive 1 over 2. So it is positive. That's what we're expecting. You should also getting positive 1 over 2, by the way, when using the blue equation. And yeah, voila, that's our n. N is 1.5. Boom. How you get your marks? Oh, okay, cool. Let me just show you how you get your marks. It's 4 marks, right? So of course there must be mark for getting a half and getting a 1. Okay, and there must be a mark for 2 marks for getting the equation and substituting it right. That's how you get your 4 marks. Boop, 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 boop. All right, cool. That's how we do it. And let me know if you have questions. And let me know if you have something that I've mentioned and you didn't get it. Comment, like, and share. Tell your friends about Ask Percy. And yeah, let's do this. Let's grow the community. We need more people to join the group. We need more people to ask more questions in math questions. Any students from any grade, from primary to high school, can join this group. And post the questions and ask questions, mathematical questions, and I'll be there to help you and your friends.